Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to the Game of Fortune. We're in the middle of our deductive traitor Among Us flavored death game, so we've got to figure out who we're going to talk to. I can't remember who we did talk to last. It's been a few days. Again, let's go with Kishi, I suppose. She's a bit more willing to open up than Zeph is. Wonder what Kishi's up to. She's pretty smart and probably can fill me in on a few things here and there. I'm pretty sure she went down this hallway. After a bit of looking, I found Kishi sitting in what looked to be some really fancy bar. It was extremely gaudy looking though. Kishi was enjoying a drink by the bar. She seems to be enjoying herself alright. How long has she been drinking here? Oh, Devon! You gotta try this wine. It's perfect. I don't think I've ever had stuff this good before. Kishi, are you really drinking while we're in the middle of a death game? It's fine, I'm just having a little fun. I know my limits, I wouldn't drink to the point where I couldn't play anymore. Do you at least remember the symbol on your collar? Of course I do, it's... the halo? No, Kishi, it's not, it's the skull. The skull. I was just testing you. If you lied, then obviously you were the traitor. I know my symbol's the skull, don't worry your head off. It's not my head I'm worried about. Here, have a drink. It's really good. What even is this brand? Taste of Vices? Never heard anything like that before. Me neither. I just saw it on the shelf here and I couldn't help myself. Look, let me pour you a glass. Kishi grabbed a glass for me and gave me a generous serving of the drink. This is a bit much, don't you think? Well, maybe, but there's no harm in indulging, don't you think? There is if it's going to end up screwing with my head. Are you a lightweight, Devon? No, but that's beside the point. I'm just teasing. Drink as much as you're comfortable with. Not like there's a rush, we got plenty of time each round after all. Yeah, I guess you're right. I took a few sips of the wine and was surprised at the taste. Smooth and sweet, but just enough strength to keep it from being overly fruity. Damn, you're right, this is good. See? Told you so. I better be careful though, I really don't want to end up drinking too much that impairs my judgment. Well, pace yourself. After all, I imagine you came looking for me to chat, right? Or were you hoping to stumble upon an empty bar and clear it out for yourself? As much as I'd love to have the bar to myself, you're right. Well, I'm happy to chat, better than drinking alone after all. So how do you plan on playing this game? What's my strategy, you mean? It's complicated. Is it really? Sure, I mean, when you think about the game, the objective is simple. Find the traitor and kill him. But how would you go about finding a traitor in a game like this? Well, keep in mind the traitor will probably want to do everything in their power to stay under the radar, so they most likely won't do anything that will draw suspicion. Meaning they'll be honest and tell the truth, and they'll ensure that people know what their symbol is and gain their trust. After all, you wouldn't want to kill someone you know you can rely on, right? Yeah, that makes sense. So the question becomes, how do you get them to show their true colours? Or is there a way you can catch them, even when they're not acting out? Do you do what Zeph suggests and just lie all the time? Make it a free-for-all? That's certainly chaotic and viable strategy. I was thinking more so of an execution. A what? Hold on, hear me out. Let's assume for a moment you're innocent, Devon. Well, I am. Right, let's assume you are. That means Richard, Zeph, or myself have to be the traitor, correct? Yeah, that makes sense. So if all three of us were to die and you survived, then the innocent team would win, correct? Yeah, that makes sense. From an innocent's perspective, that just makes sense. So you're going to suggest that the three of us just die? Well, you heard the logic yourself, didn't you? It's a surefire way to win. If and only if the person who survives is an innocent. How would you even get three people to die at the same time anyway? Would three of us just confirm one person's symbol while everyone else just made a random guess? Oh no, you don't need to do all that. All you need to do is get three people in a room, lock it, and then kaboom. Game over for the traitor, assuming one of those people inside is the traitor. That feels more risky than Zeph's plan. Is it really? Seems like a much better plan than what he came up with. There's a fun psychological aspect to it too. Consider this. You know you're innocent, so let's change up the rules a bit. Let's say we each vote for one person. Whoever gets the majority will end up surviving. What are the odds that you vote for someone as a traitor that's a traitor as an innocent? Well, I'm picking 1 out of 3, right? So 66%, right? That's correct. On average, you're more likely to pick someone innocent. Of course, if you're a traitor, you're always going to end up voting for someone innocent. Sucks, doesn't it? If someone ends up voting for the same person as you, then you're screwed. Unless someone ties with you, but then you have to make that vote again. Better odds for you since it becomes a 50% gamble, but that's assuming that it's a random guess. But still, you wouldn't want something like that, right? Guess not when you put it that way. Sounds like the trader really would have their back against the wall if he went with a strategy like that. Exactly. Of course, it's not foolproof. We might screw it up with bad luck. But I mean, hey, I'd happily take those odds. You could probably also tell based on someone's reactions if the trader got put into the slaughter room with the other two innocents, they'd probably flail around and panic. Meanwhile, the innocents in the room would be calm and collected knowing they'd come back to life. Right, because it's easy to stay calm when you know your head's going to blow up. Well, it's probably a painless death. Anyway, that's what I would do to try and win. Sheesh, hearing myself say it out loud really makes me sound ruthless, huh? Well, I mean, if it's to survive, I can kind of understand where you're coming from. Yeah. Mind if I ask you something, Devon? Sure, I mean, we got time to kill. Do you think that you'd be the same person if you experienced your life out of order? Huh? Your question completely baffled me. I don't think I understand what you mean. Is there a way to experience your life that isn't like in order, like day to day? Yeah, it is kind of a weird question, isn't it? Let's try a smaller scale than your whole life so I can get you thinking. Let's assume you start your week on Sunday. You're enjoying a nice break, you sleep in, you're rested, chilling, it's great. The next day's Thursday. Huh? How'd the week fly by so fast? It's hypothetical, just roll with it. You go to work, you're drained, exhausted, ready for the weekend, but you're also really depressed because your boyfriend dumped you on Tuesday. Next you wake up on Monday, you go to work refreshed from a break, you get a call from your boyfriend who wants to go on a special date with you on Tuesday. But he's going to break up with me on Tuesday. That's right, and thus, you wake up on Saturday feeling a little better after your friends took you out shopping to get over feeling like crap. Then it's Tuesday, and you can go out on the date with your boyfriend, and it's going great, you're having so much fun, and then he drops the news that he's dumping you and you're utterly destroyed. Now it's Friday, and after ranting to your girlfriends about your shitty week, they promise to take you out shopping tomorrow. Finally, it's Wednesday, and you take a day off from work to recover from the emotional ordeal of being dumped. And that's your week. Then it starts all over again next week. I don't know how I'd survive that kind of life. It sounds so chaotic. Would I even remember the days in order? Nope, you just experience them as they come. And how does that make sense? Why would I be feeling bad about a day that I haven't experienced yet? You just do. You wake up that day and you feel everything that happened the days before. You just haven't had them yet. But that doesn't make any sense. You're telling me I can feel something that has happened, but I don't remember or I haven't physically experienced yet? Interesting, isn't it? Imagine your entire life playing out like that. Everything out of order, but you're just going through it as if it's normal. Would there be any difference? I would imagine that jumping from my elder years to being a toddler would be somewhat problematic. But if everything is normal, I'm just going through my life in a weird order. Is there any difference at all? Well, it's kind of weird. It seems like nothing really changes that much. Yeah, you'd think that, wouldn't you? But that was more so a warm-up to get your mind buzzing. Let's imagine a different scenario. One where you're reliving the same day over and over again. Let's say it happens 5 times. But each time the day starts over again, you forget what happened the day before. And each day is drastically different. On the first day, you go on a lovely date with your boyfriend. The second day, your boyfriend declares he hates you and never wants to see you again. The third day, your boyfriend kills you. Why are things getting more and more hectic with each day? What kind of relationship are we in? A complicated one. Anyway, on the 4th day, you kill him. And on the 5th day, you two have a passionate get-together. One that you'll treasure for the rest of your life. These are strange sets of days. Right, but here's the real kicker. On the 6th day, you remember each and every day at the same time. Huh? I remember everything? Yeah, how do you think you'd react when you saw your boyfriend again? Well, I mean, didn't we break up? Hell, we killed one another. I don't know if I'd be scared, angry, confused, or just something else. But you also had a great date and an amazing emotional experience. You can't count those out either. But I got dumped, killed, and became a murderer too. I don't think that's something I'd be able to handle. Yeah, I thought the same thing. I imagine that anyone would get overwhelmed, having to sort and figure out what they want to believe, what they want to remember, what's worth holding on to, and what's worth tossing away. And that was just a chaotic 5 days. Imagine going through that for years, weeks or years or more than that. I'd imagine that it'd set anyone's mind ablaze with insanity. Yeah, well, lucky this is a hypothetical. Don't want to imagine having to repeat multiple days in my head and then having to have everything forced into my brain all at once. For a moment, Kishi looked down at her drink and simply sighed. Yeah. She forced a smile back at me and then lifted her glass up to mine. Hopefully you'll never have to deal with something like that in your lifetime. Imagine it'd be a pain in the ass having a boyfriend like that, huh? Well, I don't have a boyfriend, so I don't have to worry about all that. I see. Well, thanks for entertaining me for a moment. Yeah, no problem. I think I'm going to take a walk elsewhere. See you around. I took one last sip of my drink and then left the bar to head back to the mansion's foyer. I probably don't have much time left until the round ends. I should probably look for some kind of place to announce my symbol. Oh, Zeph, didn't see you there. You getting ready for the end of the round? Yep, just looking for a room that'll do the trick. I guess any old room should work, right? Just needs to be able to lock and stuff, right? That's my guess. Then I guess this one ought to do. Zeph peered into one of the nearby rooms and nodded his head. I think that most of the rooms around here are like this, so you should be able to use it. Good point. I'll probably pick this one. I pointed to the room right across from Zeph's. Sounds good to me. Just as I was about to enter the room, Belle's voice echoed in the air. Attention everyone, the round will end in 4 minutes. Please enter into a room, lock the door and announce your symbol. Guess it's showtime. Well, there's no real reason to worry. We all know our symbols. Yep, next round is where the real fun will happen. True. We're gonna have to eliminate the traitor somehow after all. Anyway, I'll see you after the round ends. Yep. We both entered into our rooms and then locked the door. Alright, so now all we have to do is announce the symbol that was on the back of my collar. I've forgotten because it was days ago. Heart. It was heart, right? Fuck. Fuck. Heart. I'm pretty sure it was the heart. Boy, it'd be really embarrassing if I ended up forgetting that right in the first round. I cleared my throat and prepared to give an answer. My symbol is the heart. Belle, gonna confirm I was right or anything? I felt nervous from all the silence, but maybe the fact that my head hadn't blown up meant that I was safe. I mean, of course I was right. It wasn't as though I forgot. Still, it wouldn't kill her to add ding or something to let me know that I was right. Anyway, I could probably just leave then, right? I walked over toward the door and tried to unlock it, but the door wouldn't budge. Huh? What the? I tried pushing on the door to open it, but it still wouldn't move. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, now you decide to speak up? You're trying to leave your room before the time limit is up. Time limit? Once you lock a door, you can't leave until the end of the round. You didn't say anything about that when we were going over the rules. Should have asked. There's a lot of small technical details that you could have asked about. Isn't it your job to make sure we understand all those? Maybe, but this is more fun. Not that it should matter, you're still going to get 4 minutes of free time after the round ends. So just sit tight. Fine. I walked over toward the bed and took a seat on it and waited for the round to end. Alright everyone, that's the end of round 1. You're all free to exit now. Jeez, finally. Who knew that 4 minutes could feel so long? I walked over toward the door and pushed it open. Finally, I was free to leave. As I stepped out, I felt something gush underneath my foot. Huh? I looked down and saw some kind of bloody red letters on the ground. Oh, what the hell is this? I jumped back, kicking the bloody sludge off my shoe. Just then, Zeph exited out of the room in front of me. What the heck is going on? I don't know, there's some weird bloody crap right on the floor. The fuck? Zeph looked down at it, tilting his head slightly. You're next. What? That's what the writing on the floor says, and the walls too. The walls? I took a few steps out and looked to see that even the walls around my door had the same bloody words scrawled all over it. What the fuck? Creepy. Yeah, it's creepy. This is just a blatant ass threat. Hold on, let's not make a huge deal out of this. It's probably just like Belle's doing or something, right? We're at a mansion. Maybe it's just haunted. Right, of course. It's just a haunted mansion. You see any ghouls, goblins, or ghosts while you're around here? Of course fucking not. And why do you think it's haunted? Zeph just shrugged and looked at the bloody writing. I mean, it's either haunted or someone decided to put a ton of bloody writing on the walls. It seems pretty fucking stupid. Well then what the fuck is going on? Hey, no need to panic. Honestly, we don't even need to worry about this thing, right? You don't think so? Nah, I mean, I don't know what it's all about, but in the end we still got to do our own thing, right? Find out who the traitor is and all that. If we end up getting distracted by this mess, we're gonna miss the big picture. I guess you have a point. Right, so we should just meet up with everyone else and decide what our next plan is. Think they'll all go and meet up back at the foyer again? Probably. I mean, that's where we all split up, so it makes sense that we might end up meeting there again. Alright, then we should... Fuck, crap, I nearly forgot. Forgot what? I just need something out of the kitchen real quick. I'll meet back up in the foyer in a second. Just give me a sec, alright? Alright. Zeph didn't bother waiting for my response and ran out of the hallway. Guess I'll go back to the foyer and see if the others showed up. Looks like I was the first to arrive. Richard came down from the second floor. Devon? Richard? I see that you're alive. I mean, it'd be real bad if I somehow forgot what my symbol was on the first round. Yeah, it'd be real sad and also kind of funny. Oh yeah, headless corpses are all the rage these days, I hear. Well, maybe not that, just the idea that you screwed up would be a little funny. Good to know my forgetfulness can be a source of laughter for you, Richard. I'll be sure to keep that in mind. Please don't do anything stupid just to get me to laugh. I'm not. I don't think I want people laughing at my death anyway. Yeah, probably not the most funny way to go out, honestly. Kishi walked over from one of the hallways. I see that you two haven't lost your head. Not yet, anyway. I would like to keep my head attached to my shoulders as long as I could. And in one piece, mind you. Wouldn't we all? Well, inevitably someone will lose their head. And probably their brain, skull and other things up on their head. Ugh. Huh, I figured that Zeph would be here by now. Well, he's alive, you don't need to worry about that. Oh? Well, that's good. But where is he? He said he needs to grab something from the kitchen or something like that. Grab something from the kitchen? Was he a decent cook? Well, admittedly, he's a better cook than me. I'm not all that good when it comes to cooking, baking, anything with food. I guess if that's the case, it'd be natural that he'd take up the reins. Hey, it's not like the stuff I make is terrible, it's just bland, that's all. Sure, whatever you say. By the way, has anything weird happened to either of you? Weird? Weird how exactly? I don't know, blood on the walls, shivers up the spine, stuff like that? Not really, everything seems pretty plain around here if I'm being honest. Yeah, I don't think anything weird happened. Did something happen to you? Yeah, there was bloody writing on the walls and floor by the room that I entered, and when I went to announce my symbol. So I was just wondering if anything like that happened to either of you. They both looked to one another and then shook their heads. Can't say anything like that happened. Do you mind if we check it out? Seems a bit odd for something like that to pop up. You guys talking about the blood? Zeph appeared holding some plate with sugar cookies on them. You make cookies? I was bored and I figured I might as well make something. Want one? Normally I'd say yes, but my appetite was ruined when I saw the blood. More for me then. Kishi was quick to take two and bite into them. You were always good in the kitchen, Zeph. What can I say? Sure as hell can't let you handle the meal prep. And that comment earned him a slap on the shoulder. Anyway, can we get back on track here? Zeph, can you confirm there was blood on the walls and floor? Sure can. I saw it right as I walked out of my room. Devon even stepped in it, so there should be some blood on the bottom of his shoe. I lifted my foot up to show off the red stain on my sole. Yeah, that makes sense. I still want to check it out personally myself though, if that's alright. Be my guest, I don't really care. As long as you don't forget we have to determine how we're going to catch the traitor. Well, I had an idea earlier that might work, but now this blood business has me curious. I say we check it out. Really, is this blood thing really a big deal? Don't be a baby, it'll only take a few minutes tops. Unless you're afraid for some reason. No, I'm not afraid of anything aside from just wasting time. Then you got nothing to worry about. Let's check it out. Zeph begrudgingly followed everyone as they made their way over toward the door where the blood was. This is the spot here, see? Richard was looking over the bloody words up and down, glaring at them with a fierce intensity. Yeah, there really is a bunch of bloody words, huh? And they all say you're next, too. That's the part I don't really get. What does it mean? Is it a threat? Am I the next to die or something? That's a good question. You're in this room, right? Yeah, I was. And it wasn't like this before you went in, right? Yeah, it was a normal door, no blood or words or anything like that. Zeph, can you confirm that too? Are you suspicious of me? No, I believe you. I just like hearing multiple viewpoints is all. Maybe Zeph noticed something you missed, for example. I guess that's fair. I didn't really notice anything out of the ordinary. The door was normal, pretty sure it was just the two of us. I stayed in the room right across from hers. You look like you want to say something. Well, don't put too much stock into it, but I think I saw someone around the corner before I went into my room. Someone, huh? I figured that maybe someone was looking around for a room at the end of the round, but it might have just been my imagination. I see. Devon, do you see anything like that? I don't think so, but I wasn't really paying that much attention. Did you hear anything? Maybe someone walking by or painting the walls themselves. No, I couldn't hear anything at all. I wonder, do you think the rooms are soundproof? I wouldn't know. It's not like I heard anything outside the room after all. Well then let's test it. I'll enter the room and you make some noise and we'll see if I can hear it. That sounds good to me. Richard entered into the room and shut the door behind him. So what kind of noise should we make? I don't know. I imagine like that talking is enough to be audible. Let's just be safe. Hey Richard, I think your goth ass looks lame. Zeph, what the fuck? It's fine, if he can hear me. If he can't hear me, then it's proof the room's soundproofed. And if he comes out looking sad or insulted, well no it's not. I feel like he could have said just about anything else. It's fine. This will get us results for sure. After a few seconds, Richard walked out of the room looking, well, normal. Did you make any noise? Yeah, we made quite the racket. Then it would seem the room is indeed soundproof. You're free to check it out for yourself if you want. I will, just to be safe. We repeated the test with Kishi, and sure enough, she confirmed that the room seemed to be soundproof as well. So we know the room's soundproof, which means that maybe someone or something could have come by and painted the room without either me or Zeph noticing. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. Kind of strange, mysterious case, don't you think? Well, there's certainly something mysterious about it, I'll admit. Kishi, where did you room up at? It was a bar down here on the first floor. That's where I stayed at. It was not too far from here, honestly. What about you, Richard? I was in the study on the second floor. It would take me quite a bit to get all the way down here. At least, if I were walking. Are we starting to suspect one another? Well, unless you think Belle did this, there's no one else here but us. So naturally, someone had to have done this. I agree, but I'm more interested in the reason why. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it doesn't really do much aside from spook Devon a bit. It does make Devon look like not the traitor, right? Because that's what the traitor would have done, right? Unless we did it to ourselves to throw us the scent off, I don't know. Hey, I wasn't spooked, I was just mildly worried and annoyed. Right, well the point still stands, there's not much of a reason to do this. Aside from getting on your nerves, I don't really understand what the purpose is. Maybe it's meant to serve as a warning, like literally you're the next one to die or something like that. Amps up someone's paranoia. Might make them act out or distrust the others. Yeah, I guess. Doesn't make much sense to me. If I wanted someone dead, I wouldn't warn them ahead of time. And it seems weird to try and make Devon paranoid. After all, if she's innocent, the other two innocents are going to confirm her symbol. If someone tried to lie to her, it'd be super obvious who the traitor was at that point. I don't like how this is all tied to me. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Really, what we should be asking is if anyone's going to step up and admit to this. Otherwise, I think we should assume whoever did this is likely the traitor. The air became tense at Kishi's declaration. It didn't seem wrong, it just felt as though things suddenly became more serious. This is the last chance for someone to admit to being the bloody painter. If you were playing a joke or had other intentions, now's your chance to speak. We all looked at one another suspiciously, but no one fessed up. I see. Well, don't say I didn't give you a chance to come clean. Do you have someone in mind already as the culprit, Kishi? Well, I've got some ideas. Before you go and list out your suspicions, I'd like to make a mention of something. And that would be? First, it has to do with this paint or blood, as it would appear to be. I inspected it earlier, and it's certainly no traditional paint that I've ever seen. It ain't? No, and I've worked with all sorts of paints before, so I know what I'm talking about. What do you think it is, then? If I had to give my professional opinion, I'd say it's fake blood. The kind that you get at a party store, or maybe you can make it yourself. Well, that makes some sense. The problem is, I wouldn't really expect Baldor would leave fake blood around here. I mean, has anyone seen a room that might have kind of that kind of thing around? No, I can't say I have. I mean, she can just make it appear she's a god, right? Nothing like that at all. Nope, thankfully. That means that this fake blood was probably made here. Where can you make fake blood? Or I guess I'd ask, how you doing? There are probably some recipes for it online. Probably doesn't take that long to make. You just need food, dye, and some other ingredients. At least that's what I think. Interesting, I like where this is going. It makes Zeph look like the guilty one because he's the kitchen guy. If what you're saying is true, it might lead up to what I'm thinking. Well, let's see. Zeph, you're in the kitchen at some point, weren't you? Yeah, I mean, I was making cookies. Did anyone come in at any time? No, I mean, not while I was there. I didn't spend the entire time in the kitchen, probably around 25 minutes or so. After I was done with the baking, I wandered the lower floor, checking out some of the other rooms until the time for the round was over. I see. How suspicious that you happened to be in one place, but you could have gone to make fake blood. You saying this is all my fault? I'm just pointing out that you were in the one place where someone would be able to make fake blood. I also noticed that the strokes used to make the words were likely made with a basting pastry brush. A what? It's the kind of brush used in cooking to spread sauces on meats. Usually, I tried it out once to see if it would be good for an experimental piece. The strokes were also rapid and hurried, as if whoever was making them was trying to make them quickly. I can't help but think that since you're in the kitchen, that you also had the means to paint these words in fake blood. I mean, I wasn't going to mention all that, but it's certainly a blow against your case. You too, Kishi? Well, answer me this, Zeph. You were the only person that knew where Devon went for her room, right? Richard was on the second floor and I was in the bar, so I doubt either of us were able to even paint those words on the walls or floor. Not only that, but there's also the issue of alibis. Devon visited me for a bit of time before the round ended, so there's a good amount of time that we can cover for one another not having entered the kitchen. Is that so? Devon also visited me before the round ended as well. Oh, for how much time? If I had to guess, around 15 minutes or so. I'd say the same thing, around 15 minutes. And of everyone here, you're the only person who wasn't accounted for during most of the time in the first round. Yeah, but I was making cookies in the kitchen. You're telling me that I made blood and cookies at the same time? It wouldn't be particularly hard. You could have used the cookies as a cover in case anyone walked in on you. For example, you could have said it was food coloring or dye. You really think I did this? It's not like I want to believe it's Zeph, but right now you're the most suspicious. Well, at least let me get a word in to defend myself. I think that's fair. Well, first of all, how do we know that someone didn't make the blood after I left the kitchen? Ain't it possible that any one of you three could have gone and slipped in and made the blood while I was gone? After all, it wasn't like you were checking on each other the whole time. And we just happened to have this hair-brained fake blood idea ready to go with a few minutes to spare. You can't say it's impossible. If you want to get into technicalities, then sure, it's not like it's impossible. Yeah, and then there's the issue that Devon and I saw each other enter and lock our rooms. How would I be able to paint over the walls if I can't even get out of the room? He has a point. Once you lock a room door, you can't leave until the end of the round. That's true. I guess we all heard Bell's instruction on that. Even so, there's no way that you can actually confirm that you locked the door after you went in, or just closed it and opened it afterwards. By that logic, Devon could have done the same thing. You're blaming me now? I'm just saying you could have made the blood, faked entering your room, and then painted it around to put suspicion on me. All in the span of 4 minutes? If you had the blood and brush ready, it wouldn't take you that much time to make, right? Or any of them could have done it too. They could have spied on us going into our rooms and then went to act right after that. That's probably who it was that I saw right before going into my room. I suppose it's possible. But the timing seems really tight, don't you think? I mean, you'd need to have that fake blood ready, rush right over and get the walls and floor painted, and then run back to your room and announce your symbol before time was up. Seems a bit tight for 4 minutes, don't you think? Or whoever painted these words definitely did so in a rush, so it's not impossible. I'm just saying there's a lot of ways that this could have gone down without me being the culprit here. Someone might be trying to frame me, that's all I'm saying. Well, there is one thing that is missing from this whole mystery, and that is evidence. The proof of the fake blood and the brush used. Chances are if the person who did this was really in a rush, it also meant they didn't have much time to dispose of the evidence. So that brush and maybe even the bowl or container that had the fake blood must be around here somewhere. Yeah, it's a good idea. If we find it, that'll probably give us an idea for where the culprit is. I agree. I'm not sure what insights we'll get from it, but we'll probably figure something out. Thank you for being the voice of reason. I'm telling you that I'm being set up here. Maybe. We'll have to see. For now, I think it's best if we split up into pairs. That way we can cover more ground, and if we run out of time, each pair can tell the other what their symbol is. Devon will be with me, and Richard, you go with Zeph. That seems like a bad idea. If we pair up like that, then one person's going to be with the traitor so they can get you killed. The traitor will get the other person killed. Well, someone's going to die. Hey, why can't we pair up? Because you're stronger than me, and it's only fair to pair you up with someone that might be able to deal with you. You don't think I'd do anything to hurt you, do you? Kishi shrugged and gave a coy smile in Zeph's direction. Our lives are on the line here. I think it's fair to make sure that each of us is paired with someone of equal strength. Fine, whatever. So how do we want to split up the search then? I think I want to inspect the bottom floors, so why don't you and Richard check out what's upstairs? It's fine with me. Sure, we can handle that much. I'm down with that too. Alright, then we have our game plan. Let's split up, gang, and look for clues. Richard and Zeph left the hallway and moved back toward the foyer. Kishi wanted to check out the kitchen first, so we headed over there to see if Zeph's story was indeed the truth. So what are we looking for exactly? Wow, anything that looks like fake blood or real blood, I guess. Maybe some kind of kitchen equipment, you know, where you'd find a basting brush or whatever. I can take a look around. I've worked in a few kitchens before. That's right, you're a cook. You probably know better than anyone. Well, I mean, I know just where things might be. There's no guarantee that it'll actually be there, you know. I looked around the kitchen, checking cabinets, shelves, and just about every nook and cranny to see if anything was missing. Kishi, meanwhile, was checking the stove and oven. Oh, I guess he really was making cookies. The oven was off, but it's still hot. That means it was on a while ago, right? You know he's making cookies because he brought cookies to us. Probably it takes a while for the heat to filter out of the oven even after it's turned off. Actually, now that I think about it, he must have turned the oven off after we both left the rooms we were in. I mean, that makes sense, right? He went to grab the cookies, turned off the oven, then joined the rest of us. Yeah, it sounds about right. So how'd the cookies taste, by the way? Sweet, soft, pretty great, honestly. Did you wish you had one? Well, I was just thinking about when Zeph must have put them in the oven. He said he only spent 25 minutes in the kitchen after all, so that means he probably put the cookies in the oven before leaving. So that means the cookies would have been baking for around 15 or 20 minutes or so? Is that important? Well, this isn't really forensic science or anything, but if the cookies were undercooked, then I would have suspected that he'd put them in either much later than he said, or he put them in a rather low temperature. If they were burnt, I might have suspected that he put them in on a higher temperature to compensate for the fact that he might have put them in later as well. But maybe he really did put the cookies in the oven at the right temperature for the right amount of time. You would imagine you try and use baking logic to determine if he was lying or not. I figured I might as well help out somehow. Can't let you, Richard, and Zeph do all the work here. Fair, fair. Looks like you left quite a mess in the sink. I looked through the sink and saw a few bowls, measuring cups, and a few other things tossed around. One of the bowls looked to have batter. I scooped a bit on my finger and gave it a lick. You're tasting it? Just to make sure it is what it looks like. Tastes like batter, nothing weird about it. But at least it gives me an idea for what bowls to look for. Maybe I'm underestimating the power of being a good cook. I rolled my eyes and started looking for similar bowls in various cabinets, and also for ingredients. Flour, sugar, salt, the usual stuff you'd expect to make sugar cookies. But there are a few other things that are out of place. Kishi, come here. What'd you find? Two things really. Small details, but I figured it'd be worth mentioning. First off, the mixing bowls were part of a set. The largest was used for making the sugar cookies, but there's one missing from the set. Missing, huh? Yeah, and when I was looking for ingredients, I noticed something. A container of cornstarch was open. The whole red food dye bottle had been emptied. And even... oh shit, I missed a bit. History. And even some cream seemed to be missing. Pretty sure if you mix all those up, you get some chunky red mess. Probably something that would look like blood, perhaps. Good eye. Guess that just about confirms it. Plus, I can't find any basting brushes. Not sure if Belle only has one. But there are multiple. If there are multiple, I can't find them here. That means they're probably not here. Guess we ought to look around some more. Kishi nodded her head and started to walk out of the kitchen, but stopped midway. Hey, mind if we check our collars real quick? Just so we're not frantic or rushing later. Oh yeah, I guess we should get that taken care of. Kishi craned her neck so I could see the symbol on her collar. Looks like a halo this time around. Better than a skull, let's see what yours is. I turned around and tried to move my hair out of the way so Kishi could get a look. Oh, bad luck. Looks like a skull for you. Maybe you really are next. But you had the skull last time. Somehow you're still around, so it's probably not that big a deal. Yeah, probably. Now that we got that handled, let's check some other rooms. Actually, Kishi, you seem pretty zealous about all this. It's kind of fun, honestly. Feels like I'm a detective. Not that I really know what I'm doing. I just kind of like playing detective. Yeah, but aren't you worried? About? Well, as of now, it seems that Zeph's the most suspicious. If things don't go well for him, if we can't find any evidence proving that he's innocent, we'll probably have to take some action to kill him, right? Doesn't that scare you? I mean, he's your boyfriend. I'd hope that you'd hesitate a little about having to kill him. Or is that why you're so excited? You happen to find evidence that proves him innocent? Kishi went suspiciously quiet as she leaned against one of the hallway walls. No, I was being honest with what I said before. I was mainly doing this because I was excited. The fact of the matter is, if Zeph's the traitor, I won't hesitate to kill him. What? That sounds cruel, doesn't it, to be able to execute the person that you love and cherish without hesitation? But that's how the game is played. You can't win if you aren't willing to end the lives of everyone around you. And everyone has to have the drive to win. But that's... I mean... Don't you think that's a really harsh stance to take? If you had to ask me 4 years ago, I might have said yes. That's a harsh stance, but what else could I do? Sacrificing myself so that Zeph goes ahead? I mean, yeah. That's what... I paused as I thought back to Clyde. He gave his own life to save me. That kind of selfless act isn't something that just belongs to either of us. That's what people who love each other do, right? In books, movies, and games, sure, but when push comes to shove, more people care about self-preservation. Not to say people don't do selfless things, but they do it for selfish reasons. How does that make any sense? Think about it. People do selfless acts for a number of selfish reasons. Some might do it because they think they'll look better. Others do it because it makes them feel like a good person. Others do it because being selfless ensures the person they care about survives or does better in life. But they don't do it because it's the right thing to do. They do it because it makes them feel good. It gives them some sense of satisfaction, happiness, or relief. Sometimes that just happens to match up with whatever the right thing to do happens to be. It's just how humans work. It's impossible for us to do things that we don't actually want to do. There's no such thing as a truly selfless act. I never would have figured you'd say something like that. Why? Do I give the impression of being a selfless person? I mean, there were times when you tried to help me and others. So it feels weird to hear you be so callous. It's like you're flip-flopping from one philosophy to another. It'd make sense if you thought that way all the time, about nothing but victory all the time. But it's weird to see you be empathetic one moment and then extremely selfish in another. Kishi went wide-eyed as though I'd explained some cosmic truth to her. And then her eyes softened and a look of sadness rolled over her face. Yeah, I guess you're right. I really am flip-flopping all over the place. But I have to, you know, that's just... She struggled to find the right words as her lips pressed against themselves. I want to care, I want to. I really want the best for everyone. To keep it so that no one has to die in the most shitty, painful way possible. I don't like seeing people waste away. Seeing their fear and terror in their eyes when they realize they're going to die. I hate it. But at the same time, I have to be tough too. I can't let my emotions guide me every step of the way. Tried that last time and just ended up as a sobbing, blubbering mess that wanted to hide away from the world. I have to be tough, I have to be strong. That's just how I get through these games. It's like a switch, you know? When things get scary or hectic or intense, I just make myself focus. It makes me into a real stone-faced bitch at times, but she let out a heavy sigh and rubbed the back of her head. This is the only way I can win these games. I'm not extremely athletic. I'm somewhat clever, but I'm no genius. There's really only one thing I've got going for me. When the chips are down, I can put my emotions aside for a while, be tough, and make sure I do what's smart and pragmatic. Because the alternative is getting overwhelmed with emotions. Again. And I don't want that. Anyway. Hope that's at least somewhat of a pleasing answer for you. But I guess if Zeph does turn out to be the traitor, I'll at least make it so that his last moments are happy ones. I'm not totally heartless after all. I see. I guess I get that. And if you don't, well, that's fine. You don't need to empathize with me, really. So come on. Let's look around and see if we can find some clues. Alright, we need to wrap this one up because we're out of time for today. But I think that whole Kishi bringing up what if you lived your life out of order, that thing, I get the impression that that's how she's actually living her life. And that's why she flip-flops with her emotions. Because sometimes she's in a moment when she's like that, and sometimes she's in a moment when she's empathetic. Something like that. I guess we'll find out anyway. Everyone seems to have their own weird fucking thing going on, so this must be hers. Anyway, I guess maybe we're heading towards Kishi's ending. We haven't had that yet, have we? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.